Here's an iPhone 13 Pro Max that a fan bought from a second-hand market for $3,500. The fan said he used it for about a week, then suddenly it wouldn't turn on. $3,500. If someone dares to sell it, there's always someone daring enough to buy it. Most likely, this is a fake iPhone, but when we opened up the screen, we were genuinely surprised. The phone turned out to be real, and the interior was in pretty good condition. It didn't even look like it had been repaired before. Could someone actually be doing charity work in the second-hand market? We disconnected the battery connector and tested with the power meter. The motherboard is currently in a short-circuit state. Just as I was wondering how to find this honest seller, another surprise popped up. When we peeled back the shielding sticker on the motherboard, we found the metal shielding was already deformed. This motherboard clearly had some cosmetic work done. At this point, it became pretty clear that our fan had run into a pro, but this only piqued my interest more. I wanted to see just how skilled this pro in the second-hand market was. We removed the motherboard, took off the shielding sticker, and observed closely. The shield was heavily dented. It looks like this phone suffered a severe fall or intense pressure, but the fan said it was working fine before. Testing now, we found a secondary power short circuit in the motherboard. This shouldn't be too hard to fix. The iPhone motherboard is a double-layer design. All the critical components are between the two layers. This motherboard has clearly been split and repaired before. We used a heat gun to carefully separate the two layers. Oh my God, we underestimated it. The solder joints between the two layers were severely broken. This phone had clearly been resoldered with flying wires. Looks like this professional seller is at quite a high level. Meeting a skilled opponent is a bit exciting. The previous flying wires were a bit thin. They didn't make solid contact. First, we'll fix the short circuit and then address the rest. We applied power to the separated top layer of the motherboard for testing. It's still short-circuited. The problem is definitely on the top layer. Short circuits are relatively easier to repair. We just need to use a thermal imager to locate the heat source, but the thermal image only showed the charging IC heating up. We opened the schematic, found the second main power short circuit. Currently, all these red areas indicate one or more components are damaged. Enough talk, let's bring out the magic tool. We grabbed a battery without a protective board, applied power directly to the short-circuiting area. The smell of burning plastic rose from under two deformed shields. We removed them. Sure enough, a capacitor was burned out. After taking it out, we tested again. The short circuit was gone. We reconnected the screen, powered it up to test, pressed the power button, and, okay, it's turning on. But there's a black spot on the screen. We quickly called the fan. The fan said it was like that when he bought it. That was a relief. The phone's on, but the repair has only just begun. We removed the seller's thin flying wires and replaced them with thicker enameled wires. We formed copper wires into loops to create custom solder pads. Not too many, just a few dozen. One solder joint came off entirely at the slightest touch. Now this was a real headache. We had to dig into the board layers. To find the hidden trace, we peeled open the board layer next to the broken joint. This little tail is the motherboard's lead wire. We added a bit of solder to it, attached a copper wire, secured it with green adhesive, and formed a loop to make a new solder pad. Okay, everything's fixed. We resoldered the lower layer of the motherboard, then reassembled both layers together. All right, let's install it and test it. Wi-Fi and calls are all working fine, but the rear camera isn't opening. Is the rear camera broken too? We replaced it with a new one to confirm, installed and tested again. Okay, it's good. Turns out it was a camera issue. Dude, you basically paid $3,500 for a handful of stress. We reinstalled the motherboard, put the shields back in place, and gave it a cosmetic touch-up. This iPhone 13 Pro Max has really been through a lot. Let's hope it doesn't show up in the second-hand market again. Applied waterproof glue once more, fully reassembled the phone. Okay, that's the end of the repairs. This video, I suggest you share it with friends who love bargain hunting in the used phone market.